So LifeWhere is a startup here in Pittsburgh. We're trying to create the connected home services marketplace. We believe that if we can connect services companies to homes so they can see inside the home to see how utilities are working, that they can help better maintain them. They can help consumers run them more effective and efficiently and lower their monthly costs. At the same time, we think that they can help consumers get more life expectancy out of the units and therefore spend less money. About 2 years ago, I joined a company called Gray Matter Systems. For about 30 years, Gray Matter has been connecting people to assets. I first met Gray Matter about 8 years back when I was running the analytics business for General Electric. At General Electric, we would monitor things like turbines or jet engines, and we would help them create predictive maintenance plans, help them see problems before they fail. If you've ever flown an airplane, you want to make sure it's broken on the ground and not up in the air. So as we were doing, and as I was working on that, I ran into a bunch of problems at home where I was traveling and something would go wrong. And by the time I got home, it had become a catastrophe. A broken sub pump led to a flooded basement. A broken well pump led to frozen pipes underneath the foundation for my home in Massachusetts. So what we decided to do is to say, well, geez, if we can get the IoT cost, if we get the cost to monitor the assets down, we can actually apply this into the homes and then help companies monitor houses the same way we do jet engines and turbines. And that's really what started LifeWhere 2 years back. So LifeWare's platform is a turnkey solution and a white labeled solution for our service providers. It includes everything that's needed to gather information within consumers' homes, send the data to the cloud, to visualize, analyze, and do analytics on to predict problems and failures. And then the tools necessary to push those to mobile applications for the consumer, and to have the cloud applications necessary for the services companies to be able to diagnose and schedule repairs. LifeWhere is kind of like an EKG for home utilities. So if you were looking at a furnace and you had LifeWhere on it, you'd be able to see real power, reactive power, current, and temperature. The current would give us an indication and give us visualization of everything from induction through pre-purge, ignition, blower delay, and blower. It allows us to see problems because we gather information once a second for all of time. You see every issue and challenge that a piece of equipment has had. So if there's intermittent issues and failures that are occurring while you're not there, it records it so you can actually see it and play it back and understand what's going on. And that enables you to make better decisions, and more importantly, to be able to make decisions remotely. You can actually see all of this information while you're sitting in your office, and you can determine what's wrong with a piece of equipment and go out and just fix it when it needs to be repaired. So LifeWhere is a bit transformational when it comes to HVAC companies. If you can see a problem and you know the make and the model and you can show up just to fix the problem, that means you don't need to do on-site diagnostics. And it also means that you don't have to worry about running and getting a part. That means you can do a job roughly in about a third of the time. And if you can do a job in a third of the time and charges the same money, it's just more profit per job. If your guys are spending a third of the time actually doing the physical work, they can do more jobs per day, maybe even up to about doubling the productivity of each employee. If you can do twice as many jobs at more profit per job, it just starts to mean a lot more profit for your business. But in addition to that, it also helps with things like we call callbacks, right? So you go out and you fix a unit, and the consumer calls 3 days later and says there's still an issue. And you go back, and maybe it's not the issue that you originally addressed, but it's something else. But you didn't see it while you were there. Why? Because it was an intermittent problem. LifeWhere allows us to show you everything that's gone wrong with the equipment since the last visit, and therefore you can then have a discussion with the homeowner and say, hey, here's all the problems with the unit. You can choose to fix any of these or all of these, but if they choose not to, then the callback now becomes a service call, and it's on their dime rather than yours. So LifeWhere gives you the ability to see issues as they develop, and it gives you a pretty good indication that a problem is going to become a failure in a certain window of time. what that allows you to do is to be able to collaborate with consumers to say, hey, it's a down period and I can fix this maybe at a reduced price, but get it fixed 9 to 5 rather than waiting for the peak cold season for the unit to fail, right? When it's coldest out, you have the most work and you can't get to all of it. That creates customer dissatisfaction and retention issues. If you can schedule the work, if you can see problems developing, if you can get out ahead of it by fixing a capacitor before it becomes a blower motor, or fix a fan on an air conditioner, a cooling fan, before it becomes an issue with the compressor, you can both save the consumer a lot of money, but you can also save yourself a lot of time, right? By doing that in the downtime, you can better smooth out and better utilize your staff across the year. First time one of your customers is going to work and you give them a call and say it's 5 degrees outside and we just noticed your furnace is about to fail or has failed, that customer will stay with you for life. Right? It's a different kind of experience. The typical person, goes home, goes to make dinner for the kids, realizes the house is cold, turns up the heat, eats dinner and realizes it's still cold. And by the time they really figure out what's going on, it's 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Now we're definitely into overtime, maybe even double or triple time. And that creates frustration because when you show up in the middle of the night to fix a problem, the odds of you having that part and the ability to get it working again, maybe you can get it going through the night, but you're not really going to be able to solve it. So you're almost guaranteeing 2 truck rolls, which just adds cost to the consumer. It also drags you out of bed when you don't want to be. When you want to be reading a story to your children, you'll be out fixing a problem at somebody's home that could have been easily fixed 9 to 5. So because LifeWhere can show you what's going on, and because you can see it oftentimes even before the consumer can see it, you can help become proactive rather than reactive. You can help schedule, you can help prepare, you can help get that consumer at the home during the daylight hours so that you can get the problems fixed 9 to 5. LifeWhere is a bit transformational, and how it kind of does that is because you can see what's going on in the home, you can take your best diagnostics guys and keep them in the office. And instead of wasting windshield time and having them diagnose trouble problems for a customer, they can actually start to do that for all customers. Because you can actually see into the home and analyze that, that means your best guy can always be helping the guy that's actually at the site doing the job. LifeWhere actually is pretty accurate. We're about 95% accurate in what we predict and show is failing and broken and why. What that allows you to do is to go with the right part and have a technician go out and actually get a problem solved. Now, some repairs are more complicated than others, but it allows you to use your staff better by saying, hey, my more junior guys can solve easier problems, my more senior guys can solve harder problems. And I can keep my best guys in the office and watch and help all of my customers and all of my technicians that are out in the field on any given day. So home automation today is about convenience. All right, I want to clap on and have my lights go off when I want to watch a movie. When I'm lying in bed, I want to make sure the garage doors are shut. And those are very convenient functions, right? But it's really about convenience. What LifeWhere is starting is the home health market. Home health is about how healthy is my house. My house is my biggest asset. It's probably the most expensive thing most Americans will ever buy, right, and ever own. And yet we know so little about them. I mean, how many people are really aware of what fans are going on in the attic, what pumps are going on below the floor in the basement, what the big box in the basement is for producing heat, or the boxes outside for producing cold air. What home health allows us to do is start to say, if we treat our home as an asset, if we treat our home like a business, we would be much more proactive in repair. Today, if you think about any kind of company, right, if they waited for everything to break before they fixed it, they'd be out of business. That's just not the way anything in the commercial or industrial segment works today. But that's exactly what we do in the home. And the reason that they moved away from that in the industrial market or in the commercial market is because that's the most expensive way to maintain an asset. If we can get out ahead of a problem and fix it while it's small, we can avoid a very large cost and save a lot of money. And I'll just give you an example. If you can see the capacitor going or failing on a furnace and can get out there and fix it before it actually fails, you can save the wear and tear on the blower motor. The blower motor is often 2, 3, 4, 5 times the price of the capacitor, and therefore by getting out ahead and being proactive, you can save that consumer a lot of money And more importantly, you can help them get more longevity and life expectancy out of these assets. So LifeWhere brings a lot of peace of mind, right? The first time you go out and you know that somebody is watching and all the equipment in your home that can cause catastrophic failures, it just means you can go out and relax. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're a homeowner, you don't have the expertise to know what's going on inside your furnace, what's going on inside your air conditioner, whether your sub pump is working or not. Yes, you could go off and test it, and I'm sure there's a lot of engineers out there who do go out there and test it, but by and large, that's not something that most people do today. And so what LifeWhere allows is allows you to connect an expert to your equipment so that they watch it and they pay attention to it and they help you create the plans necessary to maintain that and get the most value from those assets. So today there's a lot of equipment that actually has analytics built in. The problem to a home services company is there's 30, 40 vendors, right? And most of your customers have older equipment. So if you start getting data piecemeal from one OEM or another OEM, you have to know which system to look at. That means for every time there's a problem, you have to know what make, what model, which system, is it new, is there data, and go look. Really, that model is going to become untenable. What LifeWhere gives you is a platform so you can look at all assets, regardless of make and model. We can help you with furnaces, air conditioners, hot water tanks, sub pumps, pool equipment. I mean, LifeWhere can look at all assets in a home. It's make model agnostic. That gives you the ability to look at one platform and see what's going on. In fact, what LifeWhere actually gives you is a map view, and on the map is a dot for every home in your space that has a life pulse in it. And it's red, green, or yellow. Green is good, yellow is an emerging problem, and red is the unit's failed. So it's very easy to see what's going on and drill in, so you only have to look at data that you need to help the customer with the biggest pain today.